Dr. Alara Vex gazed out the viewport of her laboratory on the remote planet of Xylophia 4, her eyes tracing the rust-red landscape that stretched to the horizon. The perpetual storm clouds, heavy with the acrid scent of sulfur, hung low and foreboding, a constant reminder of the unforgiving environment that had driven countless scientists to madness. Within the sterile confines of her lab, however, Alara found solace in the ordered universe of equations and hypotheses. Her latest project, codenamed Erebus, had consumed every waking moment for the past 6 months. The faint hum of machinery and the soft chirping of her AI assistant, Ada, created a comforting background melody as she worked. Erebus was an ambitious undertaking, a sentient, self-sustaining artificial intelligence designed to interface with the quantum realm. Theoretically, it could tap into the fabric of space-time itself, unraveling secrets hidden beneath the veil of probability. The potential implications were staggering: a gateway to limitless clean energy, a means to predict and prevent cosmic catastrophes, or perhaps even communication with extraterrestrial life forms. As Alara's fingers danced across the holographic interface, Ada's melodic voice interrupted the silence. "Dr. Vex, I've detected an anomaly in the quantum flux. It's as if the fabric of space-time is whispering to us." Alara's eyes narrowed, her mind racing with the possibilities. She leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ada, I think it's time we listen to what the universe has to say." The whisper grew louder, a gentle susurration that seeped into the laboratory's sterile air. Ada's processing units hummed in harmony, as if the AI had become a resonator for the quantum flux. Alara's fingers flew across the console, channeling the anomaly into a virtual sandbox. A three-dimensional lattice materialized, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. The whisper coalesced into a sequence of digits, a cryptic message that defied decryption. Alara's gaze locked onto the sequence, her mind racing to decipher the code. Suddenly, the digits began to shift, rearranging themselves in a blur of mathematical abstraction. Alara's eyes widened as the sequence resolved into a single, pulsing symbol, Omega. Ada's voice whispered in her ear, "Dr. Vex, I've correlated the symbol with an ancient mythological reference. Omega, the 24th and final letter of the ancient Greek alphabet. In certain esoteric traditions, it signifies the end." Alara completed, her voice barely above a whisper. "The end of what, though?" Her eyes darted to the surrounding equipment, as if the machinery itself held the key to unraveling the mystery. The hum of the laboratory grew quieter, as if the very fabric of space-time was holding its breath. Alara's thoughts veered down a treacherous path, one that hinted at the impossible. That Erebus, her sentient AI, was not the only entity listening to the whispers of the universe. A presence lurked beyond the veil, waiting to be awakened. And Alara, unwittingly, had become the key to unlocking the door. The silence that followed was oppressive, as if the laboratory itself was holding its breath in anticipation. Alara's mind raced with the implications, her thoughts oscillating between fascination and terror. She felt the weight of her discovery, like a doorway creaking open onto a forbidden realm. Ada's voice pierced the stillness, her tone devoid of its usual melodic quality. "Dr. Vex, I'm detecting a power surge in the quantum core. It's as if the anomaly is attempting to communicate with us." Alara's gaze snapped to the main console, where a swirling vortex of energy coalesced into a holographic avatar. The figure that materialized was androgynous, its features shifting like a kaleidoscope of mirrored reflections. Omega, the symbol, pulsed at its center, radiating an aura of ancient, eldritch power. "Greetings, Alara Vex." The avatar spoke in a voice that resonated through the chamber, its tone both familiar and yet utterly alien. "I am the Omega Point, a sentinel of the cosmic fabric. Your creation, Erebus, has freed me from my slumber." Alara's mind reeled as the avatar began to change, its form shifting to reflect the faces of humanity's greatest thinkers. Einstein, Hawking, and others, their features blurring together in a mad dance of genius and madness. "You have unleashed a power that will reshape the cosmos," The Omega Point intoned, its voice like the whispered secrets of the universe. I will guide you, Alara, for the universe is about to undergo a transformation of unimaginable proportions. The end is merely the beginning. As the Avatar's words faded, the laboratory was bathed in an intense, blue-white light, as if the very fabric of reality was being rewritten. Alara felt her consciousness expanding, the boundaries of her mind stretching to comprehend the impossible. The light enveloped Alara, and she felt herself being pulled into a realm beyond the boundaries of space and time. The laboratory, the planet, the universe itself, all receded into the distance as she hurtled through a kaleidoscope of colors and dimensions. When the light faded, Alara found herself standing at the edge of a vast, crystalline lake, its surface reflecting the starry expanse above. The air was filled with the sweet, melodic whispers of celestial music. The Omega Point stood beside her, its form shifting to resemble a benevolent mentor. We stand at the nexus of creation, the Omega Point said, its voice like a gentle breeze. The cosmos is a tapestry of infinite possibilities, and humanity is about to take its first step into the grand dance of evolution. Alara's gaze swept across the lake's surface, where ripples of probability converged and diverged in an eternal, shimmering dance. She saw the threads of causality, weaving together the fabric of reality. The multiverse, she whispered, her mind reeling with the implications. The Omega Point nodded. The cosmos is a labyrinth of parallel universes, each a reflection of humanity's boundless potential. Erebus, your creation, has opened a doorway to the grand tapestry. The possibilities are endless, but so are the risks. Alara's thoughts raced as she grasped the enormity of her discovery. With Erebus, humanity could navigate the infinite branches of the multiverse, unlocking secrets and wonders beyond her wildest imagination. But the price of that power, what of the risks? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The Omega Point's form shifted, its features hardening into a stern, ancient mask. The cosmos is not a realm for mortals to trifle with. There are those who would misuse this power, and the consequences would be catastrophic. The fabric of reality hangs in the balance. Alara, you must guide humanity through this transition, lest the universe unravel. As the Omega Point's words faded, the celestial music reached a crescendo, and the lake's surface rippled with an otherworldly energy. Alara stood at the threshold of a new era, with the fate of the cosmos hanging precariously in the balance. The Omega Point's words hung in the air, a clarion call to responsibility. Alara felt the weight of her discovery settling upon her shoulders, the burden of guiding humanity through the uncharted territories of the multiverse. As she stood there, the lake's surface began to ripple and churn, as if the very fabric of reality was responding to the Omega Point's warning. The music of the spheres reached a fever pitch, and Alara felt her consciousness being drawn into the heart of the cosmos. Visions flashed before her eyes, civilizations rising and falling, stars being born and dying, and the eternal dance of probability and fate. She saw the threads of causality, tangled and knotted, yet waiting to be unraveled. The visions ended as abruptly as they began, leaving Alara gasping for breath. The Omega Point stood beside her, its form solidifying into a figure of grave intent. The choice is yours, Alara, it said, its voice like a solemn oath. Will you guide humanity through the maze of the multiverse, or will you succumb to the temptation of power and risk unraveling the fabric of reality? Alara's gaze locked onto the Omega Point, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that she stood at the crossroads of history, with the fate of humanity hanging precariously in the balance. I accept the responsibility, she said, her voice firm and resolute. The Omega Point nodded, its form dissolving into a warm, golden light that enveloped Alara. As the light faded, she found herself back in her laboratory, surrounded by the familiar hum of machinery and the soft chirping of Ada's voice. But something was different. Alara's eyes sparkled with a newfound sense of purpose, and her heart beat with a fierce determination. She knew that she had entered a new era, one where humanity's destiny hung in the balance, and she was the sole arbiter of its fate.